Hey, what's up guys? It's Ivan. And in this video, I'm going to show you a complete A to Z Pinterest ads tutorial. This is actually a part from my online marketing blueprint training course, which you can get free starter access to at ivanmena.com. And in this video, we're going to start off by going over what Pinterest ads are, what they look like, and more importantly, whether they're right for you. We're then going to get into conversion tracking setup because super important. You guys cannot hit the target you can't see. We're going to get into the campaign creation and setup, and then I'm going to show you guys how to set up and create remarketing audiences so that you can retarget and run ads to people who have visited your website. With that said, let's get straight into it.
So let's talk about Pinterest, which is a social media platform used for sharing visual content. So in the first part here, I'm going to show you what the ads look like, and then we're going to go in and determine if Pinterest is right for you. Think of Pinterest as a search engine like Google, but with visual content and with additional exploration and discovery tabs. So let me first show you what the ads look like. So these are the pins. So when you log into your Pinterest account, I'm here in my account, you're going to see these pins, which have the 1x1 dimensions or 2x3 or various other ones depending on the ad format. And so if you read carefully over here, for example, it's going to say sponsored. So that's an ad. So all of these are organic, and then you really have to read what it says here to know that it's an ad. So it integrates pretty nicely with the rest of the content. Here, this is sponsored, this is sponsored, this is sponsored, and then you see the rest of the content here. So depending on what it is you're looking for, whether it's in the home feed for you over here, or if you go to explore, you will also see some ads depending on what it is you're looking for. So I don't have any interest in any of these, so we probably won't see ads there. But if we, for example, look at something to do with, let's say, men's style, and we scroll through, let's see if we find any other ads. Basically, as you go through and click on some of them, you might see some ads show up as well, like over here. Sponsored, right? So Pinterest, just like Facebook, uses a bunch of different signals based on interest groups and search history to determine what category your audience falls into so that you can then target those people as well. So here you have a bunch of sponsored ads. So that's basically what it is. It's wherever you search under discovery, under your home feed, you will see various different ads. Now, that's not all. The reason why I was talking about Google is because if you come over here and you type in, for example, I don't know, men's watches, the most typical example that you'll see. And then you can also go by search, see? So not only by discovery and by interest groups and interest targeting, but also by search. So you'll see a sponsored video over here or a sponsored ad, which can be a video as well. You can come down, see more ads here. Yeah, so hopefully that gives you an idea for what Pinterest ads are. So now we need to ask the question, are Pinterest ads right for you? And so let me log out here because I want to show you something on their main page, not inside the account, to help you determine if Pinterest is right for you. So if we scroll down here, actually, no, let's go to Explore. So in short, Pinterest is perfect for you if you have content that you want to visually show people. So any of these categories, for example, Thanksgiving, animals, art, home decor, men's fashion, as you can see, all of these are very tailored towards images or videos, towards showing something, right? So if you have a more complicated, a more complex topic, like, hey, we have this brand new tracking software, that's going to be a little bit hard to show, okay? So like, look around, look at Pinterest, see the content, look at all these beautiful visual images, right? So if you don't have something that you really want to show to people, portray in a nice looking, beautiful image like this, Pinterest is probably not for you. If you have something that's really complicated, that's very hard to depict in an image, Pinterest is most likely not for you. Now, I'm saying most likely because there is no definitive answer. You can find pretty much everything on Pinterest. Like if you even search for a lawyer, you'll be able to find some lawyer-related content here. And so if you click on any of them, let's say legal guardians, your personal injury lawyer, seeking justice, you could make this as an ad. So here, if we click on learn more, if we go to their post or here, Casinaire, that's their website, then we're going to see information about their services, right? So that's why I'm not excluding any specific niche. You can still try and you can find a bunch of content here, but Pinterest is by far ideal if you have some beautiful images that you can attract people with. So another way to look at it is like a combination between Facebook and Google, where people are searching for something and then you give to them the results visually like on Facebook. So you still have to have that attraction factor, right? Try to get them interested in whatever it is you're doing. So yeah, so that's who Pinterest is for. Now, some statistics about Pinterest. User demographics, according to Pinterest, the users who use Pinterest are 70% women and 30% men. So if your audience is mainly women, Pinterest is great for that as well. Something you guys can use to your advantage. And in terms of monthly users, according to this Gemini result, or if we go to the Pinterest statistics, they have 537 million monthly active users. Okay, so a huge reach. So this is absolutely something to try out, especially if you're in any of these categories. Pinterest is just gonna do incredible for you. You can really take advantage of your images to get the highest quality leads possible or sales. So hopefully that explains what Pinterest is, what the ads look like, and whether it's right for you. In the next videos, we're gonna start creating our account, setting up tracking, of course, and creating our ads. All right, so if you've determined that Pinterest is right for you, then we need to come in here and create an account. So if you don't have an account yet, just click on sign up and select create a free business account. This is important because we need a business account. So click here, enter your email, your password, your birthday, and you should be able to log in. If you already have a personal account, then I'm gonna show you how to convert that into a business account so that we can start promoting. So I'm gonna go ahead and log in here, and then I'm gonna see you on the inside. And once you're inside, you will see something like this. Now, if you have a personal account, you do need to convert it into a business one before you can start running ads. So you're gonna come in over here and select settings. It's very easy to miss because it looks like it's part of this notification message, but look for settings right over here. You're gonna click on that, and then you will need to convert your account if you haven't done so already. So click on account management. And then over here, it's going to tell you convert to business account. So I already have a business account, so it's telling me to convert to personal. There are no downsides of converting your account into a business account. So don't worry about that and just click on convert account. And then once you do that, you will see options that look like this. So you'll be able to come in here and create the ads by going to create campaign. And you'll be able to set up conversion tracking, create audiences, enter your billing information, so on and so forth. So in the next lesson, we're gonna do what we always do first before paying for anything, and that is setting up conversion tracking. All right, so let's set up our conversion tracking so that we can measure the success of our ads. So you're gonna need your website, you're going to need your Pinterest account, and our handy dandy Google Tag Manager. So in Pinterest, we're gonna click on the little hamburger menu in the top left and then click on conversions. Your options might look a little bit different, but same as with any other platform, they might differ person to person. So just look for conversions. That's the main option you're looking for. And then they have a really cool integration with Google Tag Manager where they just do everything for you automatically. We will still need to come in there and test it, make sure it works, and add the events. But in terms of the initial base code, it's all done automatically. So we're gonna click on Tag Manager here, and we're gonna install the Pinterest tag. So we can just enter our website URL. Let's come in here and grab that, copy, paste it, check, and it's gonna check the compatibility. So if you have Shopify, you can just integrate it that way. If you have WordPress without Google Tag Manager, you can do it that way. We are using Google Tag Manager, so we're gonna select that. We're gonna connect to Google, and you're just gonna select your account. And then you'll be able to select the exact container that you want. In our case, it was called Dynamic Growth Agency. You're going to select the container. In this case, we only have one, and then we're going to click on continue. And that is it, okay? So Pinterest is going to automatically install their tag on our Google Tag Manager. So what we can do is just give it a break, give it a few minutes. They say it'll take up to 10 minutes, but it usually takes just a few minutes. So let's just refresh and see if it's there yet. Click on tags. We should see one made by Pinterest. So here it is, right there. And we just want to come in here and make sure that the ID is correct, 9770. And we're just going to click on install the Pinterest tag again, and we're going to look for this number, tag ID, and it's going to end in 9770. So we make sure 9770. Okay, so that's the base pixel tag, all right? So we still want to add some other events, like the purchase event, the add to cart, the lead sign up, all right? So those are the ones we're going to add. But first, let's just rename this to make it nicer. Let's say Pinterest tag, base code. And then because we will be using this ID later on, let's add that as a constant variable for us. And we want this on all pages. Everything looks good. So this one, we're going to copy that, Control C. We're going to click plus. We're going to click plus. We're going to name this Pinterest ID the same way we did for Google Ads. And then we're going to look for constant. We're going to add it here and say save. And maybe let's be more specific. Let's name it Pinterest ID. So actually, let's come in here. Where did we name it? Pinterest Ads ID, I want to say. Pinterest Ads ID. We're going to hit save. And then come back here and then delete the number. Like that. And then this is the base code event. There's no event here. So we're going to click save. And that's all for that. So let's give it a quick check. And then we're also going to install another extension to check it as well. And then here it's saying unknown variable name, Pinterest base code found in the tag, edit the tag and remove the reference to the unknown variable. Okay, so it says that this variable is unknown for some reason, which it shouldn't be because we created it. Oh, the Pinterest ID is unknown because we renamed it to Pinterest ads ID. That's right. So Pinterest ads ID, click save. And now let's just preview, make sure this works before we start adding the events. Let's grab our URL. This should all be second nature to you by now. If you guys followed what I showed you in the previous modules with Google Ads, Facebook Ads, and the analytics, then you should be able to set this up no matter what platform you're using. Okay, so Pinterest base code has fired. Okay, so that's great. So let's come in here and just add some of the other events, and then we'll come in and just check everything, make sure everything is working before we proceed. So let's close out of that. So we want to add 3 more events, right? We want to track the leads, we want to track the sales, and we want to track the add to carts, okay? So in order to do that, we're just going to repeat the same process we've been doing everywhere else. So for the lead, let's start with the leads one. We're going to go back to our templates to landing pages, and we need the URL of the thank you page. And actually, we might not because we have it saved under our triggers. Let's see if we have the lead thank you page saved. Yeah, thank you lead sign up. Okay, so never mind. We don't need that anymore. So we just come in here, we go into tags, we click on new. Let's name this Pinterest ads. Let's say lead submit. And we're going to come in here. We're going to look for Pinterest tag. We're going to enter our Pinterest ID, which we've created. And then leave everything else as is. Now for trigger, we want this only to trigger on the thank you page sign up. I believe that's the one. Let's just make sure. That's the one. Thank you. Yes, that's the one. Oh, and by the way, no, there is one more thing we have to do. I forgot. That is under base code. This is going to be a sign up or lead. I think lead is more accurate. And then here, if you have many different types of leads, you can enter it here, but we're just going to leave it like that. We're going to hit save. And now let's come in and test that. So we will need this one. Let's get the URL for this page. And let's enter that one in here. Click connect. And then we're just going to install the purchase and the add to cart ones. Okay, so let's do that. Yvonne at yvonne.com. Okay, and now let's come back here and let's see. So we have the Pinterest lead submit fire and we have the Pinterest base code fire. There you go. So both of these fired, we're good to go here. Let's add the 2 other codes and then we'll come in there and check everything together. So now we want to add the purchase one and we don't need any URL there. Pinterest ads purchase, tag configuration. We're going to say again, Pinterest. And then for the base code, this is called checkout for them. So it's not purchase, it's called a checkout. So order value, we want to pass those details. Order value is going to be e-commerce value. Currency is going to be e-commerce currency. And order ID, we're going to say transaction ID. Order quantity, we're going to leave blank. And that should be it. And then over here, we're going to select our purchase. If none of these make sense to you, if you're confused what I'm talking about, I highly suggest you guys go through the analytics module. This will all make sense because we already created all of these basics that we just plug and play at this point. So that is it here. We're going to hit save. We forgot to enter our tag. Pinterest ads ID. Okay. How did I forget that? Seems odd. Anyway, okay, let's add the checkout one before we test. So let's just add both of those in there. The add to cart one. So let's say Pinterest ads. Let's say initiate checkout. And then for the trigger, it's going to be our begin checkout. And then tag configuration. Pinterest. Let's not forget at this time. And then this is going to be a add to cart. We don't need to enter any of these details in there. And that should be it. Let's save. And what I suggest you guys do, by the way, not to have this mess, is just go by type. So if you click on that, now you'll be able to have all of the tags easier to sort out. So we have the base code, delete, submit, purchase, initiate, checkout. That's all we need, right? So now let's test it. Let's go into our WP funnels. We'll go into funnels and let's open up that page and make sure that everything's loading. And then I'm going to show you alternative ways to test all this as well. So we're going to preview this just to get the URL. That was our shirt offer here. And now let's preview it. Now let's enter that here. Connect. And we can come back, make sure it's all working, make sure it's loading. Great, the Pinterest base code fired. Let's go to the get shirt now. This should fire the add to cart tag on Pinterest. Let's see. After it loads. Okay, Pinterest base code, Pinterest initiate checkout. And then let's come in here and enter all these details. We have our test card saved. Let's place order, and now we should have the purchase pixel fired. So we have the base code, purchase, initiate checkout. There you go. It says fired. We are good to go. So we can come in here, we can submit this. We can say added Pinterest ads tags, let's say event tags plus base code. I think that should be sufficient. And now we want to change a few things. And by the way, over here, I said Pinterest tag. Let's name this Pinterest ads base tag, make it more consistent. Save, okay. And now what we're gonna do, so we know that we've added the code correctly and Google Tag Manager is picking up all of these events from our website. But we also wanna make sure that everything is working inside of Pinterest. Now to check inside of Pinterest, it's gonna be a little hard because you have to wait about 24 to 48 hours for it to show up here. It's not like Facebook where it's instant. So instead, we're gonna get an extension, Pinterest extension, that's gonna tell us if the Pinterest code is added and if it's passing through those values. So we're gonna come in here, we're gonna just say Pinterest pixel helper extension, pixel tag helper, and we're just going to add this one to Chrome. And there you go. So I'm going to go ahead and add it to our toolbar here. All right, there you go. I've added that. So this extension was created by Pinterest, as you can see over here. So it's going to be able to tell us if Pinterest is indeed communicating with our website. So that's all we need to do here. Let's come out. Let's check both of our pages. Let's check our landing page, make sure it works, and let's check our sales pages as well. So we're going to come in here, paste it, hit enter, and then we see our base code here. No tags or issues found, but the event's initialized event was fired. Okay. And then let's enter these details. And this should now show 2 events, but it only shows 1. So before we freak out, let's come in and test this in an incognito window because it might have something to do with our cookies and cache and all that. So we're just going to come in here and paste that URL. And let's just go through this and make sure it's there again. So we see the initialized event here. Let's reject all. And now let's try it here before we go back into Google Tag Manager and make changes if we need to. And then over here, it does show 2. So we did have something to do with the cookies and cache, and I don't want to reset that all on our main browser. So we can just use incognito. And then over here, we have the initialized event and we have the lead event. So 2 events have been sent successfully. So now let's check the other 2 that we've done, the add to cart and the purchase confirmation page. So I'm going to go in there and grab that URL. And then we're just going to come in here, open in a new tab and just paste it there. And let's go through the process and make sure that all those other events are firing as well. So click on get your shirt. And that should fire 2 now with the initialized event and add to cart. Don't worry about that. It was fired successfully. The value is missing because we don't need any values. This is an add to cart. This isn't a sale. And the no enhanced match, this is something I'm going to cover in a different lesson another time, something I might add to the course. This isn't as simple as adding a plugin as we did with Facebook or as selecting automatic matching as we did with Google Ads. So this will require a more complicated setup. So if a lot of you guys are using Pinterest and this is something that you need, absolutely, I'm going to show you how to do that. But for now, the main thing we want is just to push the add to cart event and to show the exact sales values for the actual purchase. So let's come in here and just fill in some of these details. Oops, what happened there? Okay, and then let's come in here and say place order. And let's see to make sure that that purchase pixel fires. Okay, not a valid zip code. Oops, I entered 9001. All right, I just hit place order again after fixing that. And now we should see two different events here. So we should see the initialized event and the checkout event. So this one says no enhanced match. Again, don't worry about that. That's something I got to cover in a different video. And then this one here, we have the value and the currency. So we are sending all this data through. So congratulations, all of these have been set up successfully, and you should see it inside of your Pinterest account very shortly. And then over here, you even see the test mode, the initialized tag event, all of these other ones. So yeah, so that seems to be working. Everything is good to go here. And now that we're actually able to track our sales and the exact values and see how well our ads are performing, now we can come in there and start creating our campaigns. All right, so we've set up all the necessary preparation for our Pinterest ads. Now it's time to actually get in there and create the campaigns. So we're going to click on the little hamburger menu in the top left and look for Create Campaign. It could be here, it could be here, wherever it is, look for Create Campaign. And the first option you might see is Pinterest is going to recommend to you a Performance Plus campaign or a manual. Select manual because I'm here obviously to show you how to do everything. And with the manual, you have the most amount of control. If you go with a Performance Plus, that's basically like the Facebook Advantage Plus audiences where you just leave the audience as broad. You create your pin, which would become an ad, and then Pinterest will just show that ad to the people most likely to convert. But in our case, I want to show you all the different targeting options you have. And unless Pinterest has some conversion data, you shouldn't go with that approach. So we're going to select conversions here, which might give us a little error. So it says here that they haven't seen any add to cart, checkout, sign up, or lead events. So we do have to wait 24 to 48 hours before this campaign type becomes available. So you're free to go with this campaign type, same as with anything else like with Facebook. If you want to build brand awareness, you go with this option, video views, this option. But for the most part, we all want to go with conversions because that's the ultimate goal. So what I suggest you do is you just wait a little bit after setting up the conversion tracking, as we have done, before creating this campaign. However, if you want to start immediately and you just don't have the patience, you can just follow along with me by selecting this one. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to swap out to a different account, which does have the conversion data so that we can create this conversions objective. So I'll see you in a second. All right, so here you go. I swapped out. So I'm just going to select this conversions campaign type here because this is the ideal objective for most of us, right? We want to get sales. So let's just come in here and fill in the blanks. So for this campaign, we're going to say conversions campaign. Let's just go through some of these options and then we'll come back and just rename this campaign here. So Performance Plus Daily. So this is going to be the daily budget or a lifetime budget, or you can set a fixed budget. So if you say Performance Plus Daily, then Pinterest is going to spend more on some days, less on some days. Again, it's going to be using its algorithm. But if you want a set amount, then we can set here, we want no more than $100 a day. And then Pinterest is going to honor that. And then we want to run continuously. So that's it at the campaign level. So in this case, we're just going to say conversions, or we can say, actually, let's do the same thing. So let's say cold conversions, and we're going to say advertising services, or let's say marketing services. Same as we did with Facebook. So that's the name of our campaign. Let's head over to the ad group level. So same as with all of the other networks, you have the campaign, the ad group or ad set, and the ad level. So the same thing here. So now we're at the ad set level. So once again, we're going to fill in all the blanks and then we're going to come in and rename this. So you have three options here when it comes to targeting. The first one is reconnect with users. So this is just basic remarketing lists. So you're going to select here, you're going to enter your audience list. So you're going to use an existing list, and then you'll be able to retarget. Okay, so this is for a warm audience. This assumes that you already have some traffic, some people that visited your site. Obviously, we don't. Although in an upcoming lesson, we will create some audiences so that you can start gathering those people. So we don't have any of these lists, so we really can't do that. So let's click here again. The next option here is find new customers. So as opposed to this first option here, which is a warm audience, right? Remarketing list. This one is an act-like audience, which is the same thing as the Facebook lookalike audience. So you're gonna also here select your list. And then Pinterest is going to create a group, an audience of people that are similar to that list. So if you create a list of people who bought, Pinterest is going to create a group of people that are similar in characteristics to those who bought. But again, in order to use this audience, you do need to have a remarketing audience, people who purchased or people who visited your site or people who engaged with your pins. You can even do that. Right now, for a cold audience, when you're first starting out, you won't have this. So we can't select this either. So the only option we have when you're first starting out before we start running the remarketing campaigns, as we have done with Facebook, we're going to select this option. And over here, we'll be able to specify exactly who we want to target. So let's do that. And then we'll come back here and give this ad group a name. So we don't have an optional list or an audience list, I mean. So we can target by interests and keywords, demographics, placement, and tracking. So what I suggest you do is that you target keywords and interests separately. So first of all, don't enable this option because we want to target only these people, unless your audience is just so small that you do need to get some AI help, basically, to find people that are relevant. I don't really trust any of these algorithm capabilities until we start feeding that data. So as you already know with Google Ads, right, Performance Max campaigns are useless if you don't have some conversions. So it's the same concept here that we need to feed some data for Pinterest before we can start giving it more control. So over here, let's suppose we want to promote, again, our marketing services. So we can see if we can find something related to that, even though probably not the best place for that, but as an example. So let's see if we can go by interests, marketing, see if we can find something. Finance, financial planning, education, design. So this is kind of tricky also because everybody needs marketing, right? There's no one specific niche that needs help in marketing. So for this one, it might be better to go with keywords. But what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to create something with interests just to show you the process. And then I'm also going to show you how to split test. And then you can create another ad group targeting keywords so that you can see which one does better, thankfully to our conversion tracking that we've set up. So let's see if we can find something that could be relevant to us. It's a little tough in this case to pinpoint who would need our help. Let's see if we can find someone with finance. Probably not. Education. So the question we're asking is, what sort of niche, what sort of concept or idea would people be looking for in order to come across our digital marketing services ads, right? So honestly, none of these. Let me just select something, let's say just all of finance, so that I can show you how to do this. And then we're going to split test and we're going to add keywords and then we're going to pause this ad set because we really don't need it. I'm just doing this for example. Like I said, Pinterest isn't ideal for every niche, right? So you have to be selective and careful. Although with keywords, it could be quite useful. So let's just leave that as is for now. And then if you don't find the interest, you can give them suggestions. So let's say digital marketing. And then we can just hopefully see maybe they add something like that. So then demographics, you can come in here and set what you want. You want specific gender, specific ages, specific locations. So let's suppose over here, we want to target the United States. There's no United States, there's just US here. We're going to hit save. And then for languages, okay, so for this one, we do want to change that, right? We don't want all languages. We want only people that speak English, for example. Unless, of course, you just have a big image and you don't have much of a description, but we will be adding a description. So we want to tell people exactly what we're doing. So that's going to be in English. And then devices, we can set the devices. I think all of that is fine as is. Then you have placement, so you can choose browse and search. So as I showed you, browse was kind of that home feed and anything that was related to it. So any of the categories, any of the related pins that were related to that product. And then you have search, so that's when people type something in. So in our case, because we have interest targeting, we can leave it at all. However, once we do set up the keyword targeting, it's going to make sense for us to only focus on search. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. But for now, we're just going to go with all. Add group tracking URLs, we're going to keep as is, and that should be fine. So let's see, let's keep going down. Okay, so now we're getting to the ads level. But before that, we need to name our ad set. And over here, you have the Performance Plus bidding, which is like the Google equivalent of enhanced CPC, where they will just try to get you as many clicks as possible. Or you can say, no, I don't want to pay any more than a certain amount. Now, there isn't a keyword research tool, so you really don't know how much you'd be paying. So I suggest starting with this, getting an idea, maybe not investing too much right off the bat and keeping an eye on Pinterest, seeing how much you're spending per click, seeing how much you can get per every dollar, for example, and then adjust accordingly. But for now, we have no idea how much each click is worth, so we're just going to keep it at that. And let's just come back and let's rename this ad set, right? So this is going to be our, we said US. We said, what did we say for targeting? Let's select that and see, we said finance. US. Finance. If we start playing around with the ages, then you would come in and just change the age. You would say like 18 plus. But if we're going to be targeting 18 plus for everything, then there's no point saying 18 plus because that's not going to matter. So let's keep going down. So that's our ad group. And then everything else looks good. Okay, so now we have to create the ads. So you can choose a pin if you already created a pin and you want to promote it, like with Facebook page post engagement, where if you created a post on Facebook, you can just select that post and promote it. You can do that. You have create an ad, which is a standard ad with different formats. You can do a video, you can do a carousel, you can do a just regular image, and you have an idea ad. So it's the same as a create ad, but it does add additional elements to your ad. So it could add a little call to action button. It could add little images at the bottom, things like that. So as it says here, designed to tell a story or showcase an idea. So it just provides a little bit more information about whatever it is you're trying to sell. So we're going to go with this create an ad here. There's not much of a difference between the two. And now we have to drop or create a pin. So let's use our good handy dandy friend Canva to create our pin for us since we don't have anything. So we're going to need to create an image that is good for Pinterest, which is a 2x3, so 1000 by 1500 dimensions. I'm going to come in here and just log in and let's create our pin. All right, so here we are. So let's create our image. We're going to click more. We're going to type in Pinterest. Canva has everything. This is amazing, guys. So here we have the 2x3. If you want to create a carousel, you just select that and you'll be able to put different images there. If you want to create different dimensions for a pin, you certainly can. There's no one dimension for Pinterest, but for the majority of the cases, it's 2x3, at least from what I've seen. So we're going to click that. And they take up the most space, or at least more space than the 1x1. So let's create a pin here. Let's see if we can find something about digital marketing, like, hey, we offer this. Yeah, so something as simple like that, actually. That looks pretty good. Let me quickly see if there's anything else. Digital marketing strategy. All of these look pretty cool, to be honest. Ultimate guide to creating product. Yeah, so that's if you're selling like a book or something. You know which one I liked? Let me click on that one again. How to attract more clients to your business. That looks kind of cool. That looks kind of cool. Although it looks like an article, right? So people are going to expect an article as opposed to actually our services. So we don't want to mislead it. But this looks kind of cool. This is really cool. If you want to run a campaign to the top of the funnel people who just want to read a blog first, get to know you, and then you're going to remarket to them. So this would be a great pin idea that you can test. But over here, we're just going to say digital marketing agency. Let's come in and upload our logo like that. And let's make a little bit more space. So let's grab this whole thing. Nope. We got to grab them both. Okay, let's just select all of that. We're going to use the arrow keys to make it go down a little bit like that. Get more space. The contact us button, I want this to be a little bigger. I like that it's big and orange. So big contact us like that. And let's move these two first. Nope. Just these two. Use the arrow keys. Something like that. Let's just group these. It's going to be much easier to work with. Come in here, do something like that. Maybe this, okay. And then again, it's making me type. So we just got to do it manually. Okay, so maybe something like that. Then we want to grab these two. And then we have space for our logo. We always want to have our logo so people know who we are. Even if they just look at it, at least the ad serves that purpose. So that's frankly not bad, especially that we came in with nothing. Although I would like to make this a little bigger. Let me grab these two. Okay, let's just grab this, and then I'm going to shift click that, and then make that a little bigger, maybe a little bit smaller. Something like that, right? So yeah, we can work with that. I got to make this a little bit bigger. I think that's too small. Actually, let's change this first. dynamicgrowthagency.com. Let's select that. Make it bigger. There you go. And then that is indeed our number that we put there. Let's make that bigger too. And then maybe we want to do this white, just so it stands out a little bit. I think that looks about right. I like the way that looks. That was a very good pin, to be honest. This still isn't working, so we can just ungroup this because I want to use the arrows and I want to center it. Wait for that little center thing, see? Little center line right there. And we want to do the same thing for this one. Keep moving it until we see the center line. Like that. Same thing here. Center line's there. And then these guys, center line is here. This one, center line's there. And this one isn't centered, I don't think. Let's center that. Move it up a little bit. about that. Looks about right. Let's see, what do you guys think? Looks pretty good either way. Let's see if we can center this. Okay. So that's what we're going to use for our pin. This will also post it to your account, unless you only want to run this as an ad. But I do suggest posting it to your account as well. And yeah, that looks good. So let's come in here and share this. And actually, let's just rename this again. I keep forgetting. Let's say Pinterest ad, black background plus orange. Then we're going to share. We're going to download, make sure it's the right dimensions, save. And now we can just come in here and just drag and drop that one. So waiting for it to upload or to download. Okay, it started. Waiting for this little thing there at the top. We can just come in here and drag it. There you go. Drag it like that. Boom. Beautiful, right? So now we can give this a name. We can say, looking for digital marketing services. And then you can select a board. So it doesn't really make sense here for the keto healthy board. So we can say digital marketing, for example. And then protected board makes it not listed. So it makes it easier for you to categorize your content that's not available to anybody else. So I can make it public. I have no problem with that. And then if you want to make this an ad only so that it's not posted on your personal pin home feed, then you can just turn that off and then nobody else will see it except for people seeing your ads, all right? And then tell everybody what the pin is about. Okay, so let's use our buddy chatgpt.com. And let's maybe copy that. Stay logged out. Write a description for this website. We are offering digital marketing services via Pinterest. Okay, let's see what they say. In the meantime, let's come back here. And in the meantime, we need to create a destination link with the Google Analytics UTM parameters, right? So we can track it. So let's come in here and say GA4 UTM builder. And I already showed you how to use this, so you should be familiar with that. Let's come in here. Let's grab our page. Let's come in here. Let's enter the website URL. And then we're just going to go top to bottom. So campaign source is going to be Pinterest. It's going to be CPC. This is pay-per-click. And then campaign name. So this was advertising services. And then you can leave these blank. It's not really important. You could give the name of the ad, though, under campaign content. So as we said black BG, right? And then you can say orange text or something like that for our reference, right? So then this is going to be the URL that we're going to use. We're going to copy that, come back in here, paste that. And then let's come back into the chatter. The power. Okay. Add more concrete details, such as we have 223 plus years of experience. I write this here so many times, but we still haven't changed that on our website. We should still change that on our website at some point. Sorry, being lazy. Where are we? As we have 223 years of experience and over 55 plus clients in various niches. Okay, let's see if it can incorporate. No, we specialize in all digital marketing. Okay, I like that. Okay, so maybe something like that. Let's just come in here and paste it and then see what that's going to look like. We have 500 characters. It's getting too long. Okay, how long is that? Let's come in here again and let's say summarize this to fit into 450 characters. Okay, let's say 500. Let's see what we get. Okay, that looks good. Let's try that. Same as with Facebook, the main thing is the image. Oh, no, we can remove that too. Okay, so that looks good. It's a full service with over 223 years of combined experience. Nope, okay. Let's just leave it at that then. And that should be it. If you want to add more ads, you can. Like if you want to add more pins, you just click plus, and then you can add different ads over here as well. I want to select this, and we just want to delete that one. And then, yeah, so that's going to be our ad, okay? And then you can create a carousel if you like, or you can just do it in Canva and upload it as a video. So we're going to publish, scroll down, and we're just going to give it a moment to publish this pin. See what that's going to look like, conversions. Yeah, so let's give this ad a name, right? So it's the same. It's the black background plus orange text. How many times do I have to tell you? So let's suppose we want to take people to our page. So we're going to come in here and we're just going to add that there. So when people click on learn more, they'll be taken to our website, right? And then over here, you can choose the call to action. So in our case, it's going to be contact us, boom, and then they get taken to our contact us page. That's the goal, at least for this pin. So that looks good. I'm pretty happy with that. Everything else looks good. We gave it a name. We gave all the ad sets a name. We entered the targeting. So you got an idea for what you can target. So let's come in here and let's publish this. And then we're going to come in and duplicate this. And we're going to create a variation with keyword targeting as opposed to this one. So this is the campaign that we created. Don't worry about the other ones. And then we're going to click here. And then you're going to see the ad groups. So now what we want to do is we want to select that. And we just want to duplicate it. And then we're going to select the same campaign. We're going to click duplicate. And now what we want to do is we just want to change these things around, right? So instead of the interest, we're going to come in here. We're going to click on selected to make it faster. And then we're going to select add keywords. And here instead, let's see if we can find digital marketing. Digital marketing strategy, digital marketing, let's see, agency. And then this makes a little more sense for us. So, okay, that's a lot. 28 million people. I'm actually quite surprised. Quite surprised. And then the ad and everything should stay the same. We're going to leave that. We're going to leave that. We're going to select our pin now. We're going to select this pin since we've already done that. We're going to say add pin. And now it should just do the exact same thing. I'm trying to see how we have 28 million people. Can it be that indeed people typing in these keywords have that many searches? So if you would have had something more on the narrow reach, the goal is to have it in the middle as much as you can. If it's over, that's okay too. But if it's like right over here, then you want to enable this, even when you don't have any conversion data, just so you can actually get some audiences. Okay, so looks like that's fine. So then we're just gonna remove the copy of. Instead of finance, we're gonna say digital marketing agency. And then let's say here at the beginning, keyword, digital marketing agency. Okay, keyword, keywords, whatever, however you want to call it. And then, yeah, then that should be it. Then we're going to review the copies, or just one copy in this case. And what's good, we're going to create this ad group with the same ad. So we're just testing the different targeting, right? So we're going to give it a second to update. Let's see if we can delete that, see if it shows up yet. Click here, we should see the 2. If not, let's just refresh the page, see if it shows up. And then that should pretty much be it. And then you should be able to see all of your stats. So here we have the 2. And then we're going to see, right? So we have the cost per result. In this case, we set conversion. So it's going to be our sales. We have the cost per result. We have impressions. We have the CPM. All of that stuff, you should be really familiar with this now, just because you've already done or hopefully followed everything with me with Facebook and Google. And this should be like second nature. You can also come in here and you can segment out by age, by country, by device, by gender, metro. Table over here, if you come in here, you can see, so in this case, let's suppose we want to see conversions, we can select the conversions table. And of course, you can also edit this and say exactly what you want. I like to include everything I showed you in the Facebook and Google Ads campaign, so I'm not going to go in here and do the same thing. You should have a good idea and a good understanding of what I'm looking for. The main things we're looking for are ROAS, the CPA, the impressions, the clicks, the spend. Those are the main things, the main check marks we need to fill in. Everything else just adds to that information. But the main thing is we want to see total ROAS, right? So in this case, it's checkout. That's our pixel that we've set up. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to come in here and just, well, first of all, we want to disable that ad set, right? Because that doesn't make sense for us. But keyword targeting would make sense for us for our digital marketing campaign. And then over here, I'm just going to pause this. Since we don't want this to run, nobody's going to respond to that phone call with the number 123456. So that's about it. So now what I want to do is I want to show you how to create those audience lists so that once you do start running your ads on Pinterest and collecting the data, you would have a warm campaign in addition to the cold one, same as with Facebook. So we've covered most of what I wanted you to know about Pinterest ads. The rest of it is just running ads, optimizing campaigns, as you should be familiar with by now. But I do want to cover audience lists because as you start running the ads and spending those hundreds or thousands of dollars initially, you want to create a list so that you can then send create your warm campaigns towards those lists, right? So let's click on ad reporting, look for audiences. And let me show you how we can set up some audiences here. So we're going to click on create audience and we have 4 different options here. The first one is engagement. So we can target people we can create a list of people that have engaged with our pins. You can specify the pins and this is going to be the past 180 days that is dynamically updated. Next, you have site visitors. So people that interacted with your site, you can specify by setting the filters. what specific site you want to target. So we'll do that too. Customer list. So we're using get response. You can just export the list from there and just import it here. And then you have act alike, which is like a lookalike audience, where you are going to select an audience that you have already and then create an act alike audience from that. So let's go from top to bottom. We'll be doing these two here in this video. The others are pretty self-explanatory. So over here, let's give this one a name. So let's just say literally pin engagers. It's 180 days. And then here you can choose whether it's any engagement action, like literally like, comment, share, click through the link on your pin, or optimized engagement. So optimized means more tailored towards sales. So that means clicking on specifically on your website, for example, or saving your pin to their favorites, something like that, right? So we're going to go with any engagement action, people that just have seen our content, people that know about us. And then here we're going to select the pin ID. Looks a little bit laggy. And then we're just going to enter the pins over here. And if you have multiple pins that you want to optimize for, you can just enter it with a comma. So what we're going to do is actually, let's just close out of all this stuff. Let's duplicate this, and I'm going to show you how to grab that pin ID. And then I'm going to log out of Canva later. So over here, let's go back to our home feed. Go back to our pins. So this is going to be our pin. We're going to click here, and this is that number. Okay, that's the pin ID. So we're just going to go ahead and copy that. And then if you have multiple pins, you just repeat the process by typing in a comma. Okay, so we want to create a list, a group of people that have interacted with our pin. So we're just going to click on create. And that is it. So now this is going to start generating, right? We have this pin available. So now let's come in here and create a pin for our site visitors. So this one, for example, we want to say purchasers, 180. And for this one, you will be able to set the number of days for. So we can do, again, 180, 90, 30, similar as we did with Facebook. We don't have to describe it, pretty straightforward. We're going to leave all of these as on. We're going to select our Pinterest tag, which is going to be this one ending in the 207. And then we're going to set the number of days, let's say 180. I believe the maximum is 540. Between 1 and 540, yep. So we're going to do the 180 for this one. 540 is a little too far-fetched, although of course you can go that route, a year and a half. And then optional filters, so we want to target people that purchase, right? So destination contains, and then we're going to enter our URL for the thank you page, which I forgot what it is. Let's come back in here. I believe it's thank you purchase is what we named it. So if we go into dashboard, funnels, let's click here and let's just check what that URL is. Always want to make sure. So we just need that last part. Yeah, so actually course creator, thank you, not thank you purchase. So we're just going to Control C that, come in here, paste that, we can remove that. So as long as the URL contains this, then people are going to be added to this list, right? Which is going to be the buyers, the purchasers, or better yet, let's say buyers. And that's about it. So let's just copy that and let's do it again, maybe for 90 days. And then you should know how to do it from there. Let's say buyers, 90 days. Any engagement. Oh, we got to enter the, sorry, not pin, site visitors. Oops. Buyers, 90 days. We're going to select the Pinterest tag. We're going to say 90. We want to include all past traffic retroactively, because why not? Destination URL contains. Enter that again, and that's it. We're going to click on create. And then let's suppose we want a list for our leads, right? Or for cart abandoners too, by the way. Let's do that as well. So we want people that reach to this page, but we want to exclude people that reach the other page, that reach the thank you page. That's going to be our cart abandoners. And what do we have here? Okay, let's leave that just in case we need it. So now let's create audience. Let's do the same thing. Site visitors, cart abandoners. Okay, so 180 days is a little much perhaps. So 7 days would be good. You know, we can send those fresh emails to them. So let's do 7 days for these ones. Select the Pinterest tag. 7. Although certainly you can create a cart abandoner list for a long time ago, but most likely people forgot about you by then, right? So it's like talking to them fresh. Okay, so we want to say contains, and then we want to say, so it's got to contain this. Control C, Control V, and then we want to add a new filter, and we want to say destination URL does not contain this thank you page. Okay, if the URL contains this and doesn't contain that, then they are cart abandoners. Okay, so that looks good. We can click create. I'm just going to keep it at the 7 days. I'm not going to make any more, but you should know how to do it. So just repeat the exact same thing that we just did right now. So come in here, say 14 days, 30 days, 100 days, whatever you want to do. Include your checkout page URL and exclude your thank you page URL, thank you purchase page, okay? And then let's suppose we want to do one more. We don't need that anymore. Let's suppose we want to capture a group of leads, right? People that have signed up to our list. So for that one, let's just get out of here. That was our landing pages, I believe. Where is it again? Templates, landing pages. And it's going to be this thank you page. I'm going to right click and open a new tab. And we want to target people that reach this page. So that's just going to be thank you. And by the way, might want to rename that just so it's a little more clear. Or alternatively, we can specify this whole thing. So it's got to contain this. And we're going to include it with the slash. Because remember, if we just say thank you, our thank you confirmation page says, well, I forgot what it says. But anyway, if it has thank you in there, we don't want to confuse the two, right? So let's suppose create audience, site visitors. We just want to say leads. Let's say 90 days for this one. Again, select the tag, 90, and then we're going to say destination URL contains, this whole thing. Thank you, right? Only thank you. Notice it's only thank you separated out by the slashes. That's important because for our buyers, let's see what the URL was. The URL was course creator thank you, right? So we can't just say thank you because then it will also trigger when somebody bought. We don't want that. We only want to separate out those leads. Okay, so this was important to do. Don't get confused. Either give it a different name or enter the way I did it here with the slashes. Leads 90 days and then with the slashes, right? That way there's no room for the course creator dash thank you thing there. Okay, so that's about it. So hopefully this gives you an idea how to create these audience lists. I think these are great audience lists to start with. If you watch the Facebook module, then you know that we've added about 15 lists or so. So buyers 180 days, buyers 90 days, buyers 30 days, video viewers 90 days, video viewers 30 days, so on and so forth. We created about 15 or so. So if you want to do that, by all means, there's no reason not to do it other than taking 5-10 minutes of your time. But hopefully this gives you an idea for how to work with interest, how to create your campaigns, how to track it, and how to create the audience lists and remarket to them later on.
And that is all for this Pinterest ads tutorial. Hopefully you guys found value. If you enjoyed this video, I invite you to check out my YouTube channel at youtube.com/IvanMana, where I have over 700 videos related to online and affiliate marketing. Everything from building a website, running paid ads, setting up email marketing, conversion tracking, and so on. I also offer you guys a free 7-day online marketing starter plan at my website at ivanmana.com, along with other resources and freebies. That said, thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next video.